Good morning, Tracy. I'm your host, Raj Singh, and today's Saturday, and we are here back with our show for TUSD candidates running for 2020 election, Your Choice for Better tomorrow. And so far, we have covered four candidates on our show, and we are going to have the fifth candidate today. And before I jump into the political arena of the show, first, I wanted to thank you to my co-host, Gurtej Atwal, who's my friend and always working with me on putting these shows together. So thank you so much, Gurtej. And as we can see, we have a third face with us, our new team member, um, Kamaljeet Singh Pannu. So I actually want Gurtej to introduce him and to tell us a little bit about him, who he is, where he works, and what kind of background he has. Gurtej, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, Kamaljit Pannu, he is the educationalist, so with the education system since long. So currently working as a vice principal with Mountain House School. So I'll request Kamaljit to please just share something about himself.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you guys for having me as well, Gurtej and Raj. I appreciate the opportunity to join you guys. My name is Kamaljeet Pannu. I'm a vice principal at Mountain House High School. This is my, oh, lordy lord, I think 12th, 13th year in education. Originally from England, moved to the Central Valley of California and headed to UC Davis for my undergrad. Then did my master's in education administration at San Francisco State, and then did my second master's at UC Davis and also got my teacher credential from there. Was in the Bay Area primarily for the last 8 years, and about 3 years ago, I moved over to the Central Valley and I've been part of the Lambertville Unified School District. So thank you guys for having me.
Thank you very much. So
we feel honored to have you on our show.
Yeah.
With your credentials and with the education background, all this program blends into that. So thank you.
Right. No, you're a great proponent for the kids and for the education. So now I'll request you to please introduce our school board trustee candidate.
Okay, so everybody, I would have the honor of introducing Mr. Ajmer Maan. Mr. Maan is going to introduce himself and then also share a little bit about his background and his history and his educational upbringing. So, Mr. Maan, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Gurtej, Ms. Pannu, and Raj for having me today. And my name is Ajmer Singh Maan, and I grew up here in most of the United States since 5th grade. I did my schooling, my education from Stack State. I did my engineering degree, undergraduate bachelor's degree, and then I did my MBA. And also I did the classes for the master's engineering degree. And I have been working in the engineering field. I have about 15 years with the federal government, and then about 10 years in the private, private industry as a cybersecurity. And my current role is as a cybersecurity engineer to making sure that our devices and so forth are protected. So that's my background, and my children, everybody grew up and in the similar field, science fields, and so forth.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Maan. We appreciate you joining us. I think my next follow-up question is going to be, as you are running for the school board, what are your big priorities? What are the areas of emphasis that you want to bring to the forefront?
My main priorities are, first of all, is make sure all children are getting equal treatment, equal opportunity for education. Support the anti-bullying program that are ongoing in Tracy area, and then have a program for teachers, awarding teachers for doing a good job, bringing up their students' education, qualifying them to be able to go to college and so forth. And my background is in the STEM field, engineering, and I think STEM field is a great career profession for anybody who wants to go it. It's well rewarding and so forth, and it's one of the fastest growing. If you look out there in the industry, there are so many shortcomings of employees for that field. So I think we should concentrate much as we can on that. And then also, I want to also talk about a little bit about the COVID, what's going on right now due to COVID, impact on the education, schooling, and so forth. Not just schooling, but also, as we all know, that all of you are probably doing the same thing. I am also working remotely due to COVID, and what that involves in the benefits and so forth, and the requirements to be able to successfully do that, the education. My son is currently at UC Davis, and he is also studying remotely now, just like everybody else. So I already have some idea. Those kind of ideas I like to bring to the forefront to the school district.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ajmer, for sharing the top priorities, what you are standing for. So just to follow up one thing, so as the COVID is around the time, so it will be a financial distress on school board. So in May of this year, the Tracy School Board, it was having a deficit of 11 million because it's a big school board. Around 173 million is the budget of the school board. So how do you think going forward you will work in that direction to sustain the fiscal health of the school district?
As we all know, the COVID has required what we call, distancing, either staying not so close to the other people or wearing a mask and so forth, a combination. And so schools have already went into the mode of a remote education. So that is going to continue on until we find a cure for the pandemic. So we have to plan for it, and the budget, we have to work with the state, the county, wherever, different areas that can help us go through it, including the federal government. Uh, but we have to basically support the students. So that just like it has made an additional requirement for us as employees and employers, that's we're going to have the similar type of impact on schools and students. Students, some of the students may not be able to, how do I say it, work so well with it. They will maybe need extra help to make sure that they can continue on with the education that they were having in the classroom. Other people, they already have computers and so forth, whatever it may be. Then they already know about the system, or they have family members who know about the system. So my goal is, like I mentioned earlier, is try to work on giving equal treatment to all the students. Some of the students that need extra help, I would propose that we have a department that can help those parents and those students. If they don't have a computer, give them a basic, simple computer, laptop that they can work with, or help them set it up, make sure we can help them install, because this is how typically it's done with big companies. For example, myself, when I went to work, they basically gave me a computer that's already set up and so forth, with all the application that I need and so forth. So similarly, we probably already have it. We already have a department. Everybody does. So in the school IT department, maybe add a small group or whatever we want, but be able to make students and parents feel comfortable that we care for them and that we want them to not lag behind because of their own personal difficulties.
No, thank you very much, Admir. So you'll coordinate with the state government, federal government to make sure that our kids, they have all the resources, and the parents should be educated and have all the resources to continue the journey of their education. Now back to Mr. Pannu.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I also heard you talk about was this notion of STEM education. And if you could just share a little bit more about that, about how you plan to address bringing in more students, members of the community, and highlighting the impact of STEM and how you can branch that out. So if you'd like to share a little bit more about that.
Yes, definitely. As I mentioned, myself, I'm an engineer, and my son is studying engineering, and there's a lot of you guys are, yourself are in that field. So my belief is that knowledge of mathematics and communication are crucial to each and every individual to be successful, either in the professional field or in any, dealing with the public in general. So a lot of people are not very comfortable with mathematics. But mathematics is not, like they say, rocket science. Mathematics can be learned. We all learn it. None of us are born with that knowledge. We learn it as we grow up. So the more knowledgeable people in mathematics we hang around with and so forth, student-wise, our schoolmates and so forth, teachers, our parents, our relatives, we can learn it. And I have been tutoring during my college days, and my son actually also does tutors right now, calculus at UC Davis. So it does help you improve. I myself went through tutoring, I was not born with this knowledge. So it can be learned. So I want students and their parents to feel that they can learn it. It's not for everybody. I understand that, But anybody who does want to go into this field, I think
Mhm.
we should provide the opportunity and the guideline for those students. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is a big, big field. We are the leaders in the world if you think about what the technology we have. I will mention I was part of the F-22 program, the fighter. That technology, first flight was in 1997. Nobody in the world still don't know how to build that technology, and we built it, what, 20, almost 25 years ago. Okay? We have the SR-71, which is also stealth technology. That is 60, 70 years old, and
Mhm.
nobody has been able to copy it. So
Mhm.
all this comes from the STEM field. Okay, so I think we have all the jobs that are open right now, that are rewarding, that are well paying, and so forth, are out there, but we don't have enough students concentrating on that field. If my only right now, my only thought is they're not getting the proper guidance, or they don't think it's the right field, or they don't have enough knowledge, they're afraid of it. When I was doing engineering, yeah, when I took physics, it was not easy. It's difficult for all of it. We all know it, okay? But we do go through it and we learn it. And that's what I want to be. I'm a proponent of that. And I think
Mhm.
it's a very rewarding career for anybody who wants it.
Mhm.
Man, girls, boys, whatever it may be. And it's not even for the people who are in the special education or who are physically handicapped, so forth. They all can learn it. And I'm a proponent of that. And that's what I would try to push or propagate more.
Mhm.
So we help them having tutoring centers, teachers spending extra time, and awarding those teachers for doing the encouragement, for giving that extra time, students, so forth. And this is also going to require instructors who are not just know math, who
Mhm.
loves to teach. I love to teach math. I mean, that's just who I am. If somebody comes a question, they said, I always tell all my relatives, I said, hey, if you have any issues in mathematics course or something, anything, ask me about it. And I will give you the shortcuts and so forth. They are just like anything else, shortcuts. You know, I will give you one thing that people not understand it. In geometry, people is difficult. If you guys have heard of SOHCAHTOA, that is a simpler way to remember those triangle sides, how to come up with equations. So those are kind of things I think if teachers put that into the students' head at a younger age, it will stick with them. And you don't learn everything once. You learn over time, just like a child learns to crawl, then learns to walk. But when he or she is walking, then they start to run. After that, it's normal. They don't
Mhm.
even have to think about it. So that's my thought is, hey, let's make these students feel comfortable. So when they are taking those courses, by the time they're ready to go to college, it's natural for them.
Yeah, so what I hear you saying, Mr. Mon, is that you definitely want to expand not only the knowledge base of the STEM education, but also bring more members of the community into STEM education.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
The parents need to be involved, and we need to bring those instructors.
Hmm.
Even people like us. Okay, we are working full time. There's a lot of other people who are really good at it. Hey, bring them in if they're good, if they're helping. They have them teach a class. It
Hmm.
takes a little bit extra work. I went through a college one time mathematics course, and he had master. He didn't have PhD, but he came and taught math at Sac State.
Hmm.
One of the best instructors I've seen because he knew the subject matter. And main thing is knowing the subject matter and loving the subject matter is what's going to move it, I think, forward.
And one of the,
Yeah.
go on, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Panu. So just something to add on to it, Mr. Ajmer, like you said, we need to promote towards the STEM. And I think that's a very imperative area that we need to invest into it because a lot of time being in city of Tracy, we're hearing, okay, why the jobs are not coming here? Why there's no university coming here? Because when they look at overall the San Joaquin County's percentage of how many students are graduating or going to the college degree program, it's very less. And that is one of the challenge that we're facing, that why companies are not here, because you don't have a workforce, a
Mhm.
skilled workforce here. And we need to invest into that so we can prepare these students that they can go to the university, they can graduate, and more companies can come here and they can make this their hometown. And right now, it's just no university here, no IT jobs are coming here. And I think that would add a lot of value to it if we start going into that direction. So I
Yeah,
just wanted to supplement on that part.
definitely. I agree, Raj. I mean, thank you very much about that. And then the thing is, since it's a remote work location now,
Right.
all those high tech companies in the Bay Area, they can have offices build in Tracy, and I think we can try to push for that right now. Hey, you need people, and it's so much cheaper here for them. And I mean, it's at home too, but they can have a local office that's needed. A lot of companies are doing that. So if they have any issue or question or something, they need to have a meeting in live in person. It can be done right here in town. And I think in the long run, that can help move some of their offices, not the corporate offices, but at least offices into Tracy, and that will help
Correct.
Tracy in the long run. And then that in turn again will help encourage students and teachers in the schools and everything to go push the program even further.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. Yeah, no, we have now Tracy, Mountain House, adjacent cities where their parents are very tech savvy. So yeah, STEM education, that is must to learn them, to encourage the companies and to make them competitive for the job force or the environment. So one
Yes.
more thing is you mentioned about the equal treatment, equal opportunity, and the anti-bullying. So what are your thoughts? So how would you approach those scenarios?
Uh, just like any program, if you want to push that program forward, you have to put awards toward it. And anybody who's breaking those rules, just like we have, if you're speeding, you get a ticket. So the people who are bullying type students or teachers, whatever it may be, we need to look at to those closely, and they write the policies and so forth. Hey, these are the consequences. If you do this, this will happen. If you do this, and not just make them. You have to enforce those policies if you want those policies to work. Just like at work, we all know about security. We have a non-disclosure, all of us do, right? And we know it stays right in the policy. Say, hey, if you disclose anything about this information about the company, you can be fired on the spot. And it does happen. And if those policies aren't enforced, then people will start to continue to do it. So those kind of things, create the policies that are for awarding people for doing a good job, and I guess maybe the punishes word or what, a reprimanding for them for doing something that's wrong. And anti-bullying, like I mentioned, my son was part of the anti-bullying program working with the Tracy of City, mayor of City of Tracy, when he was in high school. So we used to talk about it, things going on. And he's an athlete. He's basketball team and everything, captain and so forth. So he saw some from some people, but being an athlete also helps. My encouragement, I was an athlete myself, playing American football and so forth. I think getting students into every the bullying program. If you can stand up for yourself and your friends stand up for you, that bullying will reduce and eventually it will go away. So have programs that help students understanding about it. First thing is doing anything is not having knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, you don't know what to do. If you have the knowledge, then you can do something about it. And when we make those policies, we make those opportunity. If somebody is being bullied and they come to the school, the teacher, we need to have a process, that's clear and transparent. So it should come up. We should maybe like we do in company change management. So tracking what's going on will also help. A lot of time, if you're not tracking what's going on, you don't know what happened yesterday. Lessons learned and so forth, it's all forgotten because nobody knows about it. But when we have those, and it doesn't take too much. You have people in the team already, so forth, that's tracking things like that. And then making use of that, eventually, when you have that culture, it'll be a cultural change. When you have that culture change where anti-bullying in school district of Tracy is not accepted, people will stop doing it. I've seen it, we see it everywhere. We see it nationwide, we see it worldwide. Until you do something about it, it doesn't happen. So I would push for that and make sure everybody feels comfortable. Biggest thing is make the students feel comfortable, make it known knowledge to all the students and their parents. So they can come, they have somebody to go to if they're facing that.
Right. No, thank you, Admir, for pointing it out. That is correct. The knowledge, information that should be with the students from the early age, what bullying looks like, what these kinds of things look like. So they, among their friends, they can bring a culture which will just eradicate these kinds of things.
Correct.
And now it's back to Mr. Pannu.
Yeah. Mr. Mon, I'm gonna put you on the spot for a little bit here. Is as was mentioned earlier, you were one of several candidates that are running for the school board, and typically, in speaking with the candidates and understanding their core values and their beliefs, there's also an elevator pitch. And an elevator pitch is, we're gonna give you like 20 to 30 seconds, and if this had to be your commercial or your infomercial that went out, what would you want to know? What would you want to say to any parent or anybody that's in the Tracy community that sees this video that doesn't have an opportunity to see the entire thing? So what's going to be your 20, 30 seconds of this is me, it's Mr. Mon, and these are my core values. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about that, but then we'll have you say your elevator pitch. So that way, as we hear from more candidates and also highlight you, that we're able to understand your message fully. So I'm going to give you some time to think about that, and then I'm going to ask you for your 20 to 30-second elevator pitch, okay? Drink some water.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm running for the school board because I think we can help improve the education system. It's a great system. My children, my 3 children, 2 daughters and son, went through this Tracy. We have the IB program. We have the AP program. Okay, so I understand my eldest daughter, she was a valedictorian in 2007 with a diploma in IB, in international, okay, IB program. So I like to see that opportunity for other students and their parents. I want them to feel comfortable if they have any issues and feel comfortable asking for how can they have a good education that can help them qualify to go to college. And then obviously once you get college education, I'm a proponent of at least getting a bachelor's because that's pretty common nowadays, okay? But encourage them. If somebody does not want to or cannot, that's a different story. But if they want to, we should be there to help them and then guide them as needed. The stumbling blocks for most people, first one is going to be the bullying. Second one is not being heard, not being treated, as given the opportunity. And the third one is their self-confidence. So I want students to feel confident that, hey, the resources are there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any question, come to us. Even if we have to create one department in the whole school district, if parents have issues or students have issues, they want to know guidance. As you know, when we go to counselors, so they can go to, I would call it counseling, but more of guidance. So they can go in there and learn about it, find out about it, even having classes about it. These are the kind of things, as we know, are done with these big Fortune, 100, Fortune 50, whatever you want to call it, Fortune 500 companies. They train us again and again. Every year they train us on security. They train us on what are our requirements. They train us on anti-harassment. They train us on discrimination and so forth. Why cannot we have something similar, not maybe as involved, but as the basic, so people, parents, and the students know that they are being looked after, and we're not there just sitting, filling a warm seat. We are there really listening to them and giving them the opportunity to improve life. In education, hey, anybody, anytime, anywhere, education will bring you step forward. If it's not for you, I'm not going to push you to go further. But if you want that opportunity, I want you to feel comfortable getting that opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Mon. Now, that was longer than 30 seconds, but
okay. Sorry about
that would be
it was good.
First time. Okay, I'll work on it.
So, Mr. Mann, one thing comes to my mind. I am a great proponent for STEM education, mathematics. As you mentioned, kids have to be pushed, they have to be taught. But for that, you also brought a good point that teachers have to be passionate, enthusiastic about the subject. So, as Tracy, we are away from the Bay Area. So, what thoughts are in your mind to attract good teaching force that would come into the city to help out in that, like you mentioned about the AP program and all that thing? Yeah, those are very important things to bridge the gap or prepare the kids for, or give a jump start for the college. So what your thoughts are on that?
Gurtej, starting mathematics, I think, at a very younger age K through 8, okay? I mean, whenever children are able to understand, what do we teach them? When they're able to pick up that, maybe let's say in third, fourth grade, the basic, a lot of time, I myself missed some of the classes because I didn't take math like in high school all my years, and then I took two in the same year, okay? So one was a prerequisite, really not a requirement, but it was like a prerequisite for the other. So that kind of makes it a little bit harder. But so if we bring them up from younger age, teaching the basics, and what I would like to see is that being put throughout the school district. Hey, these are the basics that you need to teach your students. So when they finish, for example, grade third or grade fourth or grade fifth, they all should have. And then also have testing that is same testing throughout the district. This is being done in other parts of the world where they have a great education system. I talk about it to people. I said our K through 12 education system is not as strong as some other countries, but our university education system, undergraduate degree and graduate degree, and especially the PhDs, is probably the best in the world. If somebody told me that, I have no doubt about it. So why don't we take something that other countries, especially like India, are using to help those students become better? Why don't we try to implement part of it, see how it works? And I think having that one level of requirement and then testing on that requirement will give every teacher the same level of teaching responsibility, and at the same time getting the same level of reward for having those students be successful at it. Okay, so and then when they come up, they learn from the basic, just like a child learns to crawl, learns to walk, and things like that. So for them to learn to run, so we can have those students have the basic building blocks or the basic structure or the foundation that is strong. So when the time they graduate from high school, they're ready to go to college, they know the basic requirements for anything. So if you have taken those courses in mathematics in college, high school, they're going to be a little bit different in college, obviously. But since you have the foundation, it won't be difficult for you. So now you're not trying to learn the basic when you're in that higher level, for example, calculus class. You're trying to learn something that's new at that level. So then when then you have time to concentrate everything on that, all your time to concentrate, and you can pick up that faster. And I see that in the students, a lot of students just don't have that basic foundation. So having that consistent training, consistent, education, teaching requirement, and also at the grading requirement, I think that will be helpful.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So yes, you are for the training programs or having some kind of structure for the teachers to where they can enhance their information, enhance their knowledge, because we know that California, we have a shortage of teachers. So this is an passionate profession where not everybody is kind of focused into. But yeah, so they have to have a structure where they can learn and grow eventually.
Yeah.
So back to Raj. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit more to that we'll talk about. Okay. The teachers, a lot of the schools, for example, a lot of these private schools, okay? I mean, they hire professionals who are specialists in their areas. A lot of engineering training or technology training is not done by teachers. It's education type of teachers. Okay, they're done by professionals who are leading those technologies. A lot of the training, if you go to YouTube, for example, the new company that are coming up in technology, they have their expert, what we call subject matter expert. They are the actual teachers. So my thinking is, hey, let's see if and how much can we make use of those teachers where we are lacking. And generally what we're lacking, if you look at the news, it's in the STEM field, especially the mathematics. So if we can bring in professionals, I would love to teach. I mean, I enjoy that because like I said, so there are other people, many other people like myself who are in the engineering field. They love to teach. The students who have been to tutoring and so forth, they already know how it works. So let's bring them in to teach some of those classes and make sure we can fulfill all the requirements that we need. And we don't need to have them on our role as full-time employee. We can have them as part-time employees who can come and teach some of the difficult classes. And I think that is what the industry looks at. So why cannot we as government agencies, the schooling, Why can't we look at those opportunities too, so we can help improve our education system?
No, thank you very much, sir. So I always thought about this too. I'm an engineer from profession and good at mathematics too. I try to explore some opportunities where we can connect with the school boards and just have some guest lectures or anything, but couldn't find any such program. But that's a good initiative that you are thinking. There should be certain programs where the professionals who are working in different fields, those can be looped in, not at a full-time basis, but yeah, based on their availability, so they can motivate the kids, they can tell about who they are and how they learn, because you have a great learning experience. So if somebody comes from a professional background, shares their learning experience or give them some tips, it's always a great help to mentor the kids.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. And then we can have other teachers learn from them too. We all learn every day at work, from one another too. So, okay. Yes.
Right.
Agree.
So back to Raj.
Yeah, I think this is a great time to kind of stop and see if we have more questions. We're hitting a 30 minutes window. Mr. Pannu, do you have any follow-up questions or anything further?
I think Mr. Mon, again, I agree 100% with what you're saying. Education is, critical. It's pivotal, and absolutely, we need to make sure that our kids are provided with as much opportunities. I also want to just pick your brain a little bit. You had mentioned for those kids that want to have that opportunity, some of the families, especially in the area that we're in with Tracy and in the San Joaquin County, a lot of them are also needing additional supports, whether they are in special education, whether it's in terms of their income. Do you have any thinking or any ideas in how can we level the playing field for those families that do need that additional need? You had mentioned bringing in outside professionals to help in teaching kids, but also any ideas of what other companies or other type of venues we can use to help bring in additional supports for those families that do need that additional need that sometimes stems away from the academics and more into that social and emotional learning. You talked a little bit about counselors earlier as well as you were speaking. So any thoughts on that, on any other areas or companies that you can bring in or you foresee that we will need in the Tracy Unified School District?
Okay. I attend a lot of webinars, okay, about the technology. So somebody is coming up with cybersecurity, new ways to, new technology they're building. There's twofold to it. One thing is they're advertising their market, their technology, right? Their company. For me, it's a free resource to learn from it. So those people, basically, they're spending their time. They go to many different seminars and so forth, and they provide free seminars. So we can work with companies. For Sac State, for example, I'll say there was Dr. Baker. He was brand new to our school back in early 80s. He was working with HP at the time, and HP gave us brand new system about 7-8 for our lab, engineering lab. So the reason it is for people learn their product. So when they graduate with the engineering degree, they already know their product when they go to work. So you have to understand, the companies do understand these things. And we, the public community and the school system, need to understand that too. So we can work with different companies and so forth where they can help us. Hey, can you give us a seminar? So people who want to advance themselves, maybe, after school or whatever it may be, and then we can have an hour, 2 hour, whatever. So give that opportunity. And the other thing is social programs. We here in the United States have many social programs. We all understand that. Some are more popular than others, but the programs are meant for people to be able to survive. Okay, because of, well, for example, I can tell you, I'm also expert in income tax because I ran Jackson Hill for a few years. So earned income credit. What is that for? Is people who do not make enough. We don't want to overburden them with tax, and we actually give them credit. So similarly, we should have program in the school district for people, parents who they're working. They're already spending their full time working, sometimes more than one job. So let's give them a break and help them out. Like I mentioned about the computers, those people who cannot afford it, give them the opportunity to have the little computer. They can be pretty simple enough, just so they can have the education, and have the program where they can come for help if they don't need it. Sometimes you have the parents may be very well doing something, but they have no knowledge of technology. They should also be able to come to that group and make sure they can get their computer set up and so forth. What it is, most people, from what I see myself and others, is people don't feel that the opportunity is there or the encouragement is there, or they don't want to, have to fight back or anything. Hey, make them feel welcome. Have that program managed and run by people who are good in customer service, because their main goal, they have to have one thing is technology understanding, second thing is customer understanding. So if we can have that out there with the school in one location, everybody should be able to feel comfortable and go to it. I've been through it myself, those kind of things. I've met some of the teachers. For example, one Dr. Sims in my school, somebody told me he's very difficult, but he's good. I took him, one of my favorite. I learned the most from his class than I did with anybody. He's very difficult, but he was your friend. If you had a question, he didn't even think. He would go to the board and explain everything in detail to you within a few minutes. And so students, when you start asking those kind of questions, students pick up, hey, this is a good teacher. Let's go ask him. I want everybody to feel comfortable going to their teachers, going to their school staff, going to the school board, everybody, if they have any issues about it. And then we should take it seriously, hey, address it, because our goal is to help improve our community and create that link between companies and so forth, and invite companies to encourage us. And then that also will help the companies, big companies, understand, oh, hey, this is a great resource. Tracy area, we can work with them, and also at the same time work with a bigger school, like UC Berkeley, UC Davis, Santa Clara, Sac State, whatever. So they will also, we want them to come in and recruit from here. Hey, you guys have a great program. We want these kind of students to come into our program. And it's all basically a communication, creating links, creating relationships. And that's what I'm a proponent of.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like, as you said it best, it's this notion of creating those links and those partnerships and being able to expand not only what we have already, and it sounds like as if you were elected to the school board, but continuing to strengthen those as well. Because I think we all agree it's the Central Valley, especially the Tracy area, and as we are getting closer and closer to the Bay Area, as the populations are starting to mix more, but we definitely need those additional resources. And also, even though it's just a hill that separates us from the bay, absolutely, that we can continue to strengthen our partnerships over the hill, but also entice some of those companies, corporations, or just those community-based organizations to come over the hill and help support the population here. So thank you for that, Mr. Mon.
Sure.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Mr. Mann. So we have, so this school district is a decent sized school district, 14,000 students, they go here every day. So we have touched, so how you can add value to the students, just giving them an equal opportunity, just encourage them in the STEM field. Their parents are listening. So we have talked about the teachers. So the staff is approximately 1,400, 700 are the teachers. To empower them, to incentivize them, to create a program to encourage the teachers continue their learning and share the information with the kids. So one thing I have in mind, so we have out of that 1,400 workforce, we have around 530 classified employees and 150 employees that are in management and supervisory positions. So what is your message for them?
For the teachers and for the the management.
Yes.
Hey, look, we all go through it. I can talk more from my experience or what I have read and so forth. Is make students and the parents comfortable when they have questions and so forth. Make them feel that, hey, we're here to educate your children. Whatever it takes. If we are lacking something, give us feedback. This is we all know it. When we have meetings, right now it's automated. What was the quality? So get that feedback, encourage that feedback. All it's going to do is going to help you improve your education system. And when I was with the F-22, my main was to set up the support process, how we're going to support the software, right? So I worked with the program managers of F-14, F-15, F-16, and F-18. I went to them and spoke with them. I said, I want to know if you can brief us, give us a meeting and so forth. We can set a meeting. Tell us lessons learned. Lessons learned meaning, hey, what did when you did the support, what were things that you learned how to improve? Like they say, hey, when you have a risk, how do you remove it? Once you remove it, you need to understand how it's done. For example, if you want to teach them, for example, like I mentioned the other thing about the SOHCAHTOA, if you want to teach them basic things about certain things about mathematics, make sure that everybody understands this. Make that part of the training so they understand it. So lessons learned from there for us as people who run the program is, hey, these are kind of mistakes we made in the past, so let's not make them again. And that helps a lot. When you're not making that mistake, which is probably taking 80% of your time, you have that 80% of your time, even if you don't learn from 100% of them, let's say you learn from 75%. You're saving that 60% of your time to do something else rather than you're repeating the same mistakes. So we should get good feedback from students and the parents and school teachers, and everybody share that, what we call brainstorming. Share the good things that we learned, share the things that didn't go well. So we can, as a group, improve our teaching, the whole school system.
Right. No, create the whole as a big family, the teachers, the students, the parents, and you'll work as facilitating that whole group and leading them forward. No, thank you very much,
Right.
Mr. Mann.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Back to Raj.
Okay, so I know we're about to wrap up right now, but I actually wanted to bring one question that just been like bothering my mind because on last couple of sessions we have a couple of students that joined us, and one of their repetitive question on 2 or 3 different sessions was that how are we making sure in this COVID that somebody's available for a counseling for them, because right now they are being distanced from their friends and they're not seeing each other, and being at home and stuck at home, it creates a mental stress on everybody, not only on the kids but on adults as well. And the physically in the school the counselors are available, but what is happening right now, or how would a school would manage to kind of give them that sort of service so somebody can call them or be on the online to talk to them, hey, I need help, or I need to talk to somebody about this thing, how I'm feeling about it. Do you have any ideas about that?
Yes, definitely. My company I work for, last couple of companies that I worked with, we have, since COVID, they all started new, what do you call it, group, and they send you regular emails to all the employees. Hey, if you have any issues you want to discuss, family, working from home, things, anything that's related to it. It could be, space crunch. It could be whatever. It could be noise from other and so forth. Like when you have 3-4 members in a house, they're all working remotely. That's going to be a little bit, you have to plan for it. Some people it's easy to understand depending on your thought process. Other people it's not. So the companies have set up groups and they send emails out to everybody on a regular basis, like every bi-weekly or monthly. Hey, if you have any issues, let's reach out to this department. So my thought at this moment, if Tracy School District doesn't have that set up a group. It can be started with a local counselor from different schools. Let's say if we have 10 different, we need 10 people to volunteer, or not volunteer necessarily, they can spend 2 hours a day to support that group, where students, parents can call in, just like we do remotely, and discuss their issues. So my thought would be that should have been already set up. And if the students are asking those questions, either it's not set up or there's not knowledge out there. It's not been communicated. So my thing would be, hey, I would talk to my board and everybody else. Hey, where are we on this process to help students and their parents get help regarding COVID-19? And it is, we don't necessarily think that, but I know it from my children too. My son, he used to play basketball with his friends all the time, in spare time. Now you can't go play, not even here. He played with adults here, and Tracy too. You can't do that. So, but he will shoot around a little bit, then I will help him. We'll walk the dog or something. We have to do something to keep him busy, right? So everybody should be given that guidance. Sometimes it's just simple encouragement or guidance. Hey, yeah, just do that. Even walking, put a mask on and go take a walk. You don't have to walk where other people are. Just walk wherever you want. It's one of the best exercises. But the biggest thing, as you mentioned, Raj, is having those people to connect with somebody. And to be able to connect with somebody, we have to have that program set up, and we have to communicate that program to the public.
Great, wonderful. I'm glad you did address on that, and I like your thought process. So thank you so much. We're hitting 45 minutes window. I think it's a good time to stop here. And I would encourage all the audience or the future audience who will be listening to this show later on, if you have any question, if you need any clarifications, you need to talk to Mr. Ajmer Singh Maan in person, please do let us know. We can convey your questions to them. We can connect you with them. And Mr. Mon, if you have any number or contact information or email address that you would like to share with the audience, please do so.
Yeah, they can reach out to me on my email. It's MANNAJ1 numeral 1 at msn.com. That's basically my last name, and AJ is my nickname, and then 1 at msn.com. And I will respond to them, as soon as I can, and feel comfortable. That's what I'm here for, and I want to make sure everybody feel comfortable, that we communicate and then we respond to questions or issues that people have.
Great, and we'll make sure we post that information on our video after we stop here. So anybody who ever needs in the future the contact information of Mr. Maan, they can grab it from there. So thank you so much for your time, Mr. Maan, and thank you so much for your time, Kamaljit Singh Pannu. We're very glad and honored to have all of you guys on this platform. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful Saturday and wonderful weekend and Labor Day weekend as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it for all your time and your guidance and so forth. Okay?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Thank you.